we started out and gave up a big play on defense and then a pick six, and that's not a good way to start. I thought what was different was the makeup of the game. It was probably a time where I thought we out-yarded them at the end of the game, and I know statistics can be misleading, but there are some positive signs of the fact that we were able to move the ball, particularly on the ground again, which we were concerned about going in. Weather conditions came into play, and I thought our defense responded better. Certainly the outcome was not how we wanted, but we're going to take some positive things from them. We're still playing some young players. We got through the game fairly healthy, which is encouraging, and hopefully we'll have some players back this week. So at this time, questions.
Craig, where do you sit health-wise? I know I don't see Sean's name on there. He's still waiting. Where do you sit health-wise going into this one?
Sean's kind of the wild card. You know, I had a talk with him yesterday in the training room. He's hopeful to be back. That's on his time frame. There's a protocol that is a pretty stringent protocol that no matter how a guy feels, there are certain days that you have to be out until you're symptom-free. But I think we're on the cusp of that. We'll see as the week goes along, Robert.
I saw Jordan made his first start. Is everything okay with Drew? Is that just a different decision as far as who you wanted to play, or is that an injury decision?
Pardon me?
Drew at fullback?
Yeah, you know what? That was an injury thing. We'll go with Drew. He did dislocate some knuckles, but he'll be back in the starting spot.
When you look at Air Force, we know the option. We know a lot of those things. If they're doing anything, I know they lost the quarterback early. Right. What are you seeing from them? A lot of the same things, or is anything different with them now?
You know what? I think they're not throwing the ball as much as what they against us last year. They moved the ball through the air and pretty effectively, and you know they're relying a little bit more on the running game. However, they will throw the football, but a lot of the same schemes. They know who they are. They're very effective in what they do, and it's going to be a big challenge. You know, for us, we've got 1 week to get ready for them, and I think they're operating at a high level.
So you still have Troy and Caden as either or, but with Caden and Zach, those two freshmen on the right side, what have you found of their play, and how valuable is this experience for them early in their career?
Well, you know, youth is something that is challenging, but there's benefits of it because they're not going to be freshmen for much longer. Caden's play has been solid. I think Zach's plays have been good to solid, and Troy, while he's a fifth-year senior, that's the first time he's played offensive guard. He flipped over from defense, so we're really young at that spot. We think to have Caden play the whole game right now probably is not the best thing for a football team, and that's where we had Troy and Caden kind of splitting reps, which is why they're over.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about just when you have to go against that Air Force offensive line and the cut block scheme, what do you guys do in a week like this to get your defensive line, your linebackers ready to go for that cut block? Well,
it's always one of the more challenging weeks. I know that our players, you know, their comments after this game last year was it was the most physical game that they had played, and I think a lot of it is the nature of this style of offense. Cut blocks, you know, we cut as well, but not as much as what they do, and so we're going to work on those type things, work on double teams. You know, this is the type of football that, you know, when I first started coaching, that everybody played, and what the challenge is now this is an offense that you have to get ready for in 1 week, the physicality, and then also the schemes to be disciplined. So we'll spend a great deal of time. Tuesday's practice is a full padded practice, and we're going to work hard on tackling. We're going to work hard on cut blocks. We're going to work hard on coming off double teams.
Defensively, you talk about Air Force. This particular guy like Weston Steelhammer kind of seems to be a key cog on that side of the ball for them.
I think they've improved. You know, when we first got the job, we watched a lot of their tape, and last year I thought their defense, just walking out on the field, looking at their guys on the hoof, I thought they had some pretty good, impressive guys, and then they played well against us, and they went on to have a great year last year. You know, we think defensively they're operating out of a three-down front, which for us is a little bit unique, but we've had that every week. They've become more aggressive as each year's gone along, and that poses problems for us. And so we believe they've got a really good defense. And you know, last week's game, Navy, I know is a big game for the service academies whenever they play, and it's also a different style of play. You know, you saw two teams playing very similar offenses, and so how they deploy their defensive guys this week should and probably will be significantly different.
Craig, I see you have DJ back as your main returner. I know Tanner took some hits to those ribs. Is more DJ doing some good things back there, and maybe so Tanner doesn't take as many hits, or what's your thought process?
Yeah, the
there?
thoughts are Tanner Gentry's playing so many reps on offense, and DJ's done a good job in the return game, and so it's to highlight some of his skills. Not to say that Tanner wasn't a capable returner, he was, but there's only so many reps that you can have a guy play at full speed, so we're trying to spread those out.
Knowing, you know, every week the scout team guys are important, but especially with these option type guys, who will you have kind of simulating, whether it's their quarterback or fullback? Do you know what you have in mind to try to simulate that speed?
Yeah, we do, and I won't say who it is. You can come out to practice, but probably not going to be out there loud when we get into team. But yeah, we're going to adjust our offense to make sure we have somebody that can simulate their quarterback, and that's a tall order. You know, what you find with Air Force is they do the same thing every week, and it's a first week occurrence for us, so that's a challenge in itself.
Coach, after the game on Saturday, you basically just simply said that you need to make some more strides on the defensive line. After seeing the game film, what was your assessment of their play?
Well, we thought Uso played fairly well, you know, we thought a couple of the ends played fairly well. I think we need to shore up some things at the nose guard position, and we'll address that. You know, we're going to need to play a lot of guys this week. This will be a different style of game. You know, last week was an outside zone stretch game. This is going to be more of an assignment game. Last week we needed to generate some pass rush, which we didn't do. However, they were 0 for 7 on third down conversions. So it'll be a different style of game. It'll be more assignment style.
You had Josh and even Nico run. It'd be that kind of share snaps, that number 2 running back without Sean. What are your thoughts on that? Did they hold their own?
They held their own. You know, I thought Brian was exceptional in the game, and those numbers bear it out. I imagine you guys probably saw that as well. And so there's a pretty significant drop-off between Brian and the other players. It's difficult. We thought about integrating Kellen in, but to have 3-4 tailbacks in one game is, I think, pretty counterproductive. So we'll look at what type of run it is, and sometimes we'll insert Josh and sometimes we'll insert Nico, but Brian's going to get a lion's share of the carries, I think, as he goes in the running game where offense goes.